I'm going to smile at everyone and I'm going to say hello, good morning, grand rising. My name is Reverend Jerry Hobby. I have the honor of serving as the spiritual director of Spiritual Enlightenment and Truth Focused Ministry. It is a grand and a glorious day. We are on the East Coast, we're on the Pacific Coast. And for those that are in the other parts of the world, we welcome you. We're here to warm the day, warm life. And the last time I checked, and it's telling me right where I'm at now, it is 37 degrees. So we're breathing and we're going to warm the field of light. We bless the atmosphere. We're blessing the weather wherever we're at. But there's a part of life that we can warm just by opening our hearts, our minds, dropping into the heart space, and allowing the energy, the flow, and the vibration of life to expand itself. So I invite you to sit with us in the silence. For a while, we'll have a sacred reading, and we'll have more silence, and then anchor the day. If you feel comfortable, close your eyes. And if you're in a space where you're unable to close your eyes, I'm going to invite you to soften your gaze and to lift your eyes up, to look up, perhaps at a 45-degree angle, and just be still.
All right.
Our reading this morning comes from 365 Days of Richer Living, How to Use Your Mind Power for More Successful Living by Ernest Holmes and Raymond Charles Barger. Today's reading is entitled, Today I Recognize That I Am a Perfect Being, Living Under Perfect Conditions. And so we begin with our sacred readings. We start first with the Bible. John chapter 1, verse 3. All things were made by him, and without him was not anything made that was made. Thrice greatest Hermes. His being is conceiving of all things and making them. He even makes all things in heaven, in air, in earth, in deep, in all of cosmos, in every part that is and that is not of everything. For there is not in all the world that is not He. And the Bhagavad Gita. There is not whatsoever higher than I, and all this threaded on me as rows of pearls on a string. All things are threaded in the divine, like rolls of pearls on a string. Spiritual intuition tells us that beauty is not at the root of everything, that beauty is at the root of everything. Ugliness is its supposition, opposite. We must sense not the opposite, but the reality. For there is not in all the world that is not He. This means that God is and through everything. It is this divine presence which we are to recognize. For every apparent opposite, we are to supply a realization of the truth about the opposite. In this way, we may supply a spiritual sense that is transcendent of the form, which the material sense has created. In this way, one can look at, in, and through a difficulty or difficult situation until he perceives the truth at the very center of its being. Thus, the devil, that is, evil or false appearances, is transmuted into an angel of light, for there is not beside him. If everything enduring and true comes from God, the Creator, then we may be certain that no matter what the appearance is, the reality is always perfect. This is why Jesus tells us to judge not according to appearances, but to judge righteously. We shall always judge righteously when our knowledge is based on the certainty of the divine presence, perfect at the center of everything. Today, I recognize that I am a perfect being, living under perfect conditions, knowing that the good alone is real. I shall also know that good is the only thing that has any power, either to act or react. Everything I do, say, or think today shall be done, said, or thought from the spiritual viewpoint of God in everything. I invite you to sit in the presence, to sit in the spirit of the divine, and just breathe. Our reading today comes from 365 Days of Richer Living: How to Use Your Mind for More Successful Living by Ernest Holmes and Raymond Charles Barker. Today's reading is entitled, Today I Recognize That I Am a Perfect Being, Living Under Perfect Conditions. We start first with John chapter 1, verse 3. All things were made by him, and without him was not anything made that was made. From thrice greatest Hermes. His being is conceiving all things and making him or making them. He even makes all things in heaven, in air, in earth, in deep, in all of cosmos, in every part that is, and that is not everything. That is not of everything. For there is not in all the world that is not he. In the Bhagavad Gita, there is not whatsoever higher than I, all that is threaded on me as rows of pearls on a string. And they write, all things are threaded on the divine, like rows of pearls on a string. Spiritual intuition tells us that beauty is at the root of everything. Ugliness is its supposition, no opposite. We must sense not the opposite, but the reality. For there is not in all the world that is not he. This means that God is in and through everything. It is the divine presence which we are to recognize. For every apparent opposite, we are to supply a realization of the truth about the opposite. In this way, we supply a spiritual sense that is transcendent of the form which the material sense has created. In this way, one can look at, in and through a difficulty or difficult situation until they perceive the truth at the very center of its being. This is what spiritual mind treatment is, by the way. Thus, the devil, that is evil or false appearance, is transmuted into an angel of light, for there is not beside them. If everything enduring and true comes from God, the Creator, then we may be certain that no matter what the appearance is, the reality is always perfect. This is why Jesus tells us to judge not according to appearances, but to judge righteously. We shall always judge righteously when our knowledge is based upon the certainty of the divine presence, perfect at the center of everything. Now, this is our moment. You know the song, This Is Your Moment? It is your moment right now to join into the chatter of life, to influence the inner chatter of your being as well as the outer chatter. I'm going to invite you to unmute if you're here in this sacred space right now. And for those that are on our social platforms, I invite you to just, if you're in a space, to join us by repeating after us. If not, just mindfully be fully present as you hear the echoes of these words. So, as we have unmuted ourselves now, we begin. And I'm going to start, and you repeat after me. Today,
Today,
I recognize that I am a perfect being,
I
I recognize
recognize
that I
that
am a
I am
perfect
a
being,
perfect being,
living under perfect conditions,
living under
living under
perfect
perfect
conditions,
conditions,
knowing that the good alone is real.
knowing that the
knowing that the
good
good
alone
alone is
is
real.
real.
I shall also know that good is the only thing
I
I
shall
shall
only know
also
that
know
good is the
that
only
the only
thing
thing
that has any power either to act or react.
that has any
that has
power
any power to
either to
act
act
or
or react.
react.
Everything that I do,
Everything I
Everything that
do,
I do,
say, or think today
say,
say,
or
or think
think
today
today
shall be done,
shall be
shall be
done,
done,
said, or thought from the spiritual viewpoint of God in everything.
said, or thought
said or done
from the spiritual
from the
viewpoint
spiritual
of
Viewpoint
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 of God in everything.
of
of
God
God in
in
everything.
everything.
So we're just breathing that in right now. And as we breathe and acknowledge the spirit and the presence of God right now, knowing that God is in everything, that God is in the very words that we speak, that God is the presence and the light of all things. So wherever we cast our eyes, there the presence of God is. Wherever our ears are open, there the presence of God is. Whatever we think, there is the presence of God. God is the point of reference within our emotions. God is the spiritual vibration, fulfilled and revealed all around us. We recognize this presence. We honor this presence. And we remember that if that presence is fully present right here and right now, it must mean that God is right where we are. We are one with this divine presence, this energy, this vibration, and that the substance of the infinite is at the core and the center of all of life. That's the center of our being within our body temple, within our mental body, within our physical, mental, and our emotional body, and within our spiritual being. And acknowledging that and knowing that the being is the body of God. So, in this very moment, wherever we take our attention, our eyes, we remember that the presence of God is there. And so we embrace this God presence right now. We allow this God presence to fill our thought, our thinking patterns. We allow for this God presence to expand and grow right now. And moving beyond appearances, the stories of life, the conditions of life, we lift our eyes up from whence our help cometh from the Lord, knowing that universal law is already at work in our lives, fulfilling itself right here, right now, where we see with clarity, where our ears are pristine, and the voice and the energy and the vibration of God is heard, knowing that the consciousness of God is the power of our voice. And whatever we hear, moving beyond judgment by appearances, but knowing that there is something deeper and greater unfolding. We advocate, we affirm this is God. God is centered and poised in this experience. We look for that God presence and we allow that God presence. So in this very moment, I speak my word and acknowledge this presence alive right now, personally, within each and every one of our lives and all of humanity. I speak the word of good. as prosperity fulfilled, every seeming need met, blessing all those that support us, blessing and honoring those that support us in the revelation of perfect healing and health in our body temples, acknowledging that same presence as the creative element and the sustaining power in this thing we call the law of circulation, whether it is those that we are employed with or whether it is those that we support as small business owners and large business conglomerates. We know the presence of God is all there is. And as we acknowledge this presence, we acknowledge it as the circulation for those that we serve, whether they are employees or whether our employees are serving the public or individuals in any capacity. We're acknowledging the spirit and the grace of God as good, bringing peace, bringing harmony, thriving and prospering, allowing for this divine grace to move into families, creating peace and harmony. And I hear these words, and peace fell over the land. And I know that that peace has fulfilled itself beyond that which we cannot even imagine right here and right now. I know it to be steady, I know it to be steadfast, and I know it to be good. And so in this space of grace, in this space, as we breathe right here, right now, we simply release these words, knowing that it shows up and shines forth in practical ways, that we are comforted, that we are nurtured, we are blessed, and we are always in the divine flow. And in this space, right here, right now, with the sacred breath of release, we all affirm, and so it is, and now it is. Amen, amen, and ashe.
Okay.
I open my eyes, I look into your eyes. I can see into your eyes, even on this social platform. And I see the beauty, I see the blessing, I see the joy, and I see the sacred wisdom within each and every one of you. And what I'm knowing is that beauty, that essence of life feels itself in a perfect way today. And what I know too is that that perfection is not exclusive, because if it was exclusive, it would exclude each and every one of us. It is inclusive. So I'm inviting you to open your heart and allowing for the mighty blessing to flow and express itself right here and right now. Have a blessed day. I'm going to say goodbye to